Hello and welcome back. So, we're currently up to Juan, rated 400. So let's review my game with Juan. So I was playing white again. It gave me a lot of white games until I figured out that I need to keep cycling it. This time, I said I was going to play a bad opening. I was going to play the Owens defense. I did study a little bit of the Owens defense, mostly because I want to get like a lot of variety in my opening, so nothing was going to throw me if I see something new. So he copies me, which was kind of boring. He didn't copy me. I get the bishop to the Fiend Shadow square, develop the knight. He develops his knight. So not much has happened, it's a pretty balanced game. I've got no pawns in the center, which isn't very principled. But like the modern system, if you play that, it's predicated on trying to get your opponent to overextend to your territory, and you pick them off slowly but surely. Just develop the bishop. So he throws out in the center. What was I thinking? What was I thinking with this? I'm gonna get fancy? I'm gonna get cool? I don't exactly know what I was thinking there. Why am I trying to dislodge the knight? I don't remember why I made this move. I think I wanted to get the bishop here. I think I wanted to get the queen somewhere else, and I wanted to castle kingside, so I wasn't too concerned about the pawn shelter here. I think I was trying to prevent him from going here. But why? It's not even that big of a threat for him to go there in the first place. I'm not entirely sure why I made that move, but I made that move. And this was his response, which was not a good response. There was no need for it. So I asked his knight to move, and he moves it. So now I've got this pawn that's hanging in the center. Why did I want him to move his knight so bad? Well, develop the queen. Queen is protecting. It's also attacking. So he attacks the pawn. So now he can actually take with the queen. So if queen takes, then I lose a pawn for literally nothing, no advantage. So I decide to defend the pawn. So if takes, I can take back this. And if I really wanted to, I could take with the queen, but I didn't want to. If I've got my queen, I want to attack with it. But one of the reasons I really wanted to get my queen off of here is so the king could castle on the queen side. So he does this. I go ahead and castle. That was just disrespectful. I felt disrespected by that. And I was looking at moves like this, but it doesn't work here. So, launch out in the center, because, my king is safe. Most of the stuff is happening on the queen side, so I should probably keep, trying to smash through here. So he takes. I take back. He develops the knight. I didn't want his knight to go here, but, I was just I don't see a threat, so I'm just going to continue by attacking your rook. And the rook is trapped. It can't go anywhere. It can go here, or it can stay here. This bishop is blocked, so the queen can't do anything. Goodbye, rook. So he's trying to distract me, and he checks me. I got confused for a second because I went to go take the rook, but I realized that I was in check. So I had to take the knight back first. So and then he boots my knight. I knew that this could happen, and you know, when I saw this happen, I said, do I have time to like take this? But I realized that this, okay, so if I took this, then he took this, and then I could take back. But I didn't really want to give up the knight for anything, for nothing. I thought about this, but then I realized that there's this. So jumps out of the way, attacks this again, and if takes, queen is in the line of fire there. So he goes and attacks my knight, but my knight is still defended by the bishop, so I wasn't concerned. And I took the rook that was still hanging in the corner. So I don't know what the point of this move was specifically, but I used this opportunity. I could have taken, but I saw this, and seeing that my knight covers this square, it would be made in one. So he covered this square so he could get out. Checks, captures, and attacks. I knew that I could check him first, and he would have to respond to that. So his bishop would still be hanging even after this. So I go ahead and I take the bishop. He wants the queen trade. I didn't want a queen trade, but I couldn't see anything else except for that. Which I think that I had in mind when I played this originally, because I didn't want my queen to get in here. I'd not have anywhere to go. So I did have, honestly, when I was just like reviewing the game, I forgot that I made this move. But I skewered the king and the queen together, but it doesn't work. Okay. It still doesn't work. So I said, if you want to do a queen trade, you'll have to take me. So I take the knight, so he can't put the knight here. Alright, intermezzo, he takes my queen. But, intermezzo, I can check him first. No, I was going to say, do I have an intermezzo? No. I could have done that. I probably should have done that. No, it doesn't work here. I was saying if I had checked him, then I could have won the bishop, but my queen would still be hanging, so I got to take the queen first. He took this, and to be honest with you, I had a blind spot, so I just like lost my bishop for nothing. I felt kind of stupid. So move the king out of the way. I was just like, you just like hung your bishop, dude. Okay. So the idea of this was to make sure that he couldn't. So I need to do something about this. He was covering the promotion square, so I need to stop him from covering the promotion square. He's going at my pawn shelter here. Alright, so I'm trying to make it so I can get a queen. Takes. He doesn't really have much of a follow-up. I'm on a light square. He's got a dark squared bishop, so I'm not too concerned about that. And these don't coordinate well in this specific sense. I didn't want to take, and, well, I mean, I guess there was no harm in that either. So he takes, I queen. Oof. I played this poorly? No, because I realized if I had taken here, and then he brought this, then I would be in check, and I would have lost a queen in one move. So it was important that I moved the king to the side and not take the pawn here. So he spites checked me. He probably should have taken the queen. So checks, captures, and attacks. The check was faster than, and that was just like made. I didn't even have to take the rook. Alright, so let's look at the game review. So I played at 86% accuracy at a strength of 1550. Juan, who was rated 400, played double his rating, so good job, Juan. Let us review officially. So, b3 is an uninspiring move that prepares to bring the bishop to b2 and attack the center later. I think this is called the Owens defense, and I have like watched a video and like looked into it using the analysis engine, but they call it the Nimzowitsch Larsen attack. Played one time as white. Not really a good move. Should have like committed to moving the bishop to the diagonal. It didn't like this. It thought that I should have pushed the pawn in the center instead. I mean, it does make sense because his next move, well, yeah, but he didn't do that. I did consider this, but, you know, I was playing this kind of like a King's Indian type setup, or, well, it's not really a Queen's Indian type setup, but I feel like if the King's Indian is on the Queen side, it's pretty much a Queen's Indian. So I wanted, like, well, not there because that would block the developing square for the knight. But I preferred this anyway. I didn't play that. So he marches in the center, which was a good move, the last move, but it's a bad move now. So recommends putting the bishop on the long diagonal. Would you look at that? This move that I wasn't even sure about. Like, I remember thinking about it in the game, and just... That's actually the best move. So, that was not a good move. Okay, well, the engine says it's a good move, but it's not a good move. If it's got a green check mark, it's not a good move. A good move has a blue. It has a... So this is a brilliant move. This is a great move. This is the best move. That's an excellent move. This is an inaccuracy. This is a mistake. That's a miss. That's a blunder. I don't know what this is. It's a tie or it's equivalent. This is a good move. No, wait. If this is a miss, then what is this? I do this a lot, and I do this about 5% of the time. I haven't had an occasion to use any of these, though. But I'm always trying to find games that have a lot of these and a lot of these, and I try to get a lot of these. I do get a lot of these, and I try to avoid these, but I can't help it sometimes. Anyway, so, thinks that that's the best move. Thought that its response, rook to g8, was not. So I moved the knight. I don't understand why moving the knight was so crucial, but I knew that the queen could prevent it from ever like getting in here, and if he went there, I could snap it off. Is that good for me? Well, it would make a long-term target here, because I wanted to get the bishop there at a certain point. So he moves back. This was not a good move. It was a good move, but it wasn't a good move. When it comes to me looking at the chess moves, if I get a green check mark, it's not a good move, okay? Straight up. So he plays the best move. I defend. Thought I should have brought up the knight, which makes sense. You know, develop with tempo. Well, it's not really tempo. Developing a piece. Sure. He tries to strike on the other side of the board. Too many pawn movements, not enough development of his pieces. I castled. Wanted me to retreat my queen. Oh, I think I see it. Because if I had moved the queen back, and if he did, I don't know, some random move like, let's say this, and then I took, he wouldn't be able to take back because then I would get the rook. But, you know, same diff, really. So that, what is this? Is a mistake. Alright, so the orange question mark is a mistake. I don't know why the king felt the need to move. Maybe he just felt cramped and he needs some air. So I thought I should have struck back in the center here. Why? I didn't want to like close off this diagonal. I know that it's not doing anything right now, but I'm always trying to make my bishops ungodly. So he does that. I defend the center, which wasn't a good move. It was the wrong pawn. He wanted me to move this pawn, not this pawn. So he takes, I take back. Wasn't even a good move. Wanted me. That's probably why. So that knight could never get to this square. But what is? I mean, I've already got a completely winning position, so it doesn't specifically matter. Takes back, attacks. That wasn't even a good move. Should have just taken. I didn't want to like make my structure ugly. Yeah, okay. I mean, sure. The rook would always still be hanging. Develop the knight instead. I don't get it. But when all roads lead to... wasn't even a good move. Check. Take. That wasn't even a good move. Because of that response, it wasn't such a good move. What was the better move? Develop the knight. Oh, because, well, that pawn wasn't actually hanging. He takes queen. Intermezzo. I'm an idiot. I saved the wrong bishop. It's an excellent move. That's what thumbs up means. Excellent. I'm okay with excellent moves, but I'm trying to shoot for best moves. That was an excellent move. Alright, so that was an excellent move. That was only a good move. Check. Best move. Inaccuracy. Forced move. That's what that one is. Check. And mate. So, pretty good game. Alright. If you enjoyed this game, please consider liking and subscribing. Getting better at it.